out in the woodland to do some woodland photography, and the weather is quite nice for this type of photography, I believe, but it's not the nicest weather to actually be out in. There's quite a lot of rain, it's quite persistent, and I've actually seen further on there's some quite low clouds, some mist hanging around, so I may try and eventually make my way into that. We'll see how it goes. But the first thing that's caught my eye today is the scene behind me here. Initially it was this tree here. Obviously the curves on it are appealing to the eye, and it's getting some nice light on it at the moment just from an opening in the trees above me here. There's some nice light on the forest floor as well, and I quite like how this tree curves off to the left and then back round to the right, and then just off in the distance there's some trees which sort of curve in from the right to the left, so they sort of complement each other. And I think what makes this scene, or the finishing touch on this scene in my opinion, is this branch which is just sticking out on the forest floor. Hopefully you can see that. You will in my image if you can't see it at the moment. But it's almost like this tree's leaning over this much smaller branch which is just looking up and pointing to it. Don't know how it got there, if it's broken off. Looks like it's possibly came from that tree, but regardless I think it makes the scene because the sunlight is just giving it a nice soft glow as well. But yeah, very appealing arrangement of trees in my opinion. I quite like this shot. A nice one to start off with, but I'm now going to head off in this sort of persistent drizzle that's on at the moment and see if I can find any more compositions. So I've decided to make my way and try and get up into the clouds and mist. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. It may actually clear by the time I get there, but I'll enjoy it all the same. It's quite a hike, but it's quite nice at the moment. The rain has actually went off, which is quite good, but it may well come back on. There has been a lot of persistent rain and drizzle today. But as I was walking, I spotted these quite nice purple flowers behind me here. And when I'm doing woodland photography or photography in detail, I do notice the finer details in the landscape, but I'm never particularly drawn to photograph them. I do at times, but I spend the vast majority of my time photographing larger landscapes or smaller sections of landscapes, but not really the finer details of something so small such as this. So I decided it was worth taking because I really like the alignment of the scene once I got myself in the correct position. There's actually a bee going in and out this flower at the moment, but it's all about the nearest flower really. That's the one I've wanted sharp, so I'm using a very shallow depth of field, and then the other one behind it will complement it nicely in terms of alignment, but the focus will be soft on that particular one. But I really just like the alignment of the scene and just being a little bit creative, trying to get this nearest flower sharp and everything else out of focus. So I'll put the image up now and hopefully you like it, and I think it's been worth stopping for me to take. Just look at the vibrant colour of the leaves on this tree behind me here. I've moved on a bit and found this tree. I spotted it from quite a distance off and hoped it would make for a nice composition, and I think it does. Just because a tree's got a nice shape and nice colour, it doesn't always mean it will make for a nice photograph. So there's a number of options regarding capturing this tree in an image and the various angles and positions that I could take it from. it looks a nice tree, it's caught my attention, but what I've decided to do is move over this direction a little bit, which then reveals an older contrasting tree just behind it and to the right. So how I personally see this is that we've got what I would suspect, I may be wrong, but it looks like a slightly younger tree, nice shapes, nice colour, vibrant, full of life to the left of the image. And then the branches to the right of this tree sort of lean over and point towards what looks like a much older tree. No signs of life on it, no leaves, no nice colour, but we've got a scattering of the purple flowers that I photographed earlier on the forest floor. So I think the contrast between the colour and shapes of these trees work quite nicely together in an image. So I've taken it roughly from the angle we're at now, round about this position, and I think it works quite well. What I'm going to do now is walk on for a little bit more. It's getting later in the evening. The light is still okay at the moment, but I don't think it's going to be fantastic for much longer. I may not get up into any areas that are really thick with mist, but I've simply run out of time. But I'll have a look on for a little bit more and see if I can find anything else, and if not, I'll call it a day. So I walked on and the woodland began to get more dense. The trees became more closely packed together, the path narrowed, and they were really blocking out all the light coming from the sun above, or what I can see of the sun today, considering there's so much mist around. So everywhere was really dark, and my instinct told me I've had the best of the conditions and the best of the woodland for today. So I've decided to call it a day and head back. But I've really enjoyed being out. There's been a lot of persistent drizzle, and hopefully this has given you some inspiration to head out even though the conditions are not their best or their most appealing for being out in. As long as you take care of yourself, dress appropriately, take care of your camera equipment, then you really can enjoy yourself and get some nice images. So hopefully this video has given you a little bit of inspiration to head out when conditions are not ideal. But that's it for me for this one. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in my next vlog.